Well, my name is Becky Sheets. I'm the CEO of Life First. We are a pregnancy center here. We have a location in Manassas, where you are today, and we are here to rescue children. We minister to moms and dads who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. They come in, they're pregnant, they're scared, they don't know what they're going to do. In some cases, they are intent or leaning strongly toward terminating that pregnancy. But they come in, they get a free ultrasound, they get a free pregnancy test, they get to see their baby, they're introduced to the baby. They realize that the baby is a baby, that it is very real, and they have a decision to make. We have a lot of people who come and go from our pregnancy medical centers, and we're here, we call ourselves, we're like the emergency room. She comes in crisis, she comes in for the pregnancy test, so that's medically administered. We have medical staff, and then while she's waiting for the results of the pregnancy test, she goes into the counseling room. She meets with a lay counselor, a patient advocate, who just sits with her and listens. And I mean, sitting in these appointments is really cool because they really listen. They try to understand what's going on, how do you feel about the pregnancy? How do you feel about your relationship? They will provide her with free resources or low-cost resources, from housing to prenatal care, and any number of things that she needs based on what's going on in her life. Super important part of what we do, sharing the gospel. We share the gospel with every single mom, and the men do it as well. Sometimes they've got a really compressed timeline though, but they really do try to share the gospel with every male appointment. But I'll tell you the story of Esther. I can tell you her story because she actually shared it at our gala this past April. She came into our Woodbridge Center, and she was in a really bad place. She was pregnant. There wasn't a future with the father. She had a lot of the feelings that a lot of the women who come into our centers have. And we shared the gospel with her. And she was very, very soft-hearted to the gospel. But she said, and this just breaks your heart, but we hear this, I can't make that decision because of what I'm going to do. And we hear that, like, that's a really good offer. Jesus sounds great, but I'm going to have an abortion. I can't trust God and do this thing, right? And we followed up with her, and we never really knew what she did. Weeks passed. And then one day, this young lady walks into the Woodbridge Center, and she asked for Pam, the name of our center director who met with her. And she said, I want to talk to Pam. And she said, hey, I was here, if you remember me. And Pam said, oh, I remember you. She said, I drive by this place all the time, and I want to come in today. And I want to tell you that I'm going to have my baby. I decided to choose life. And she said, I gave my heart to Jesus. That's an awesome story. And she is really, having her come to our gala, she is really growing in her walk with the Lord. So it's very, very cool to see. So far this year, 75 women, and men, I should say, because we minister to the guys as well, 75 people have made decisions for Jesus, and even more rededications.
So what kind of resistance have you faced as an organization?
We were vandalized shortly after there was a Roe v. Wade leak before the final decision. So our previous center in Manassas was vandalized, and that created kind of a series of unpleasantness. But in all that, we had supporters, and we had people calling us to say, hey, I want to pay for power washing for the building. We had people who wrote a check we never heard of before. They heard a radio interview. So, whenever the enemy comes against you, you should expect it. We're told that we're going to experience the enemy coming against us. So we expect it, and we rejoice in it, because we're supposed to rejoice in persecution, and then we see God work, and we see God work through His church, which is really, really cool.